Alrighty, good morning. Okay, so I just wanted to show you how to fill out this Venn diagram, okay? This is for concept development, so it's helping you relate the different kinds of energy. So you're comparing them, which is what a Venn diagram does. That's these two circles that overlap. It's called a Venn diagram. You can use it for science, math. It's just a template or like a strategy to compare two different things, okay? So in this one, we're comparing kinetic energy and potential energy. So on this side, I'll write something about kinetic energy that is just about kinetic energy, and something about potential energy that's just about potential energy on this side. And then in the middle, I write something that the two things have in common, okay? So the middle piece is things that the two different kinds of energies have in common. And the instructions say, let's see, list 3 things in each part of the diagram, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we're going to list 3 things in each part of the diagram. I'm going to do 1, 1, and 1, and you guys are going to finish the rest on your own, okay? So to do this, though, we need the reading, and we need to review and read about kinetic energy and potential energy, which is on the second page. So I have kinetic energy here. So I'm going to read this and the potential energy one. Okay, just to review, review what they're about. So kinetic energy. Imagine that you roll a bowling ball down the lane. The ball has kinetic energy, which is the energy of motion. Okay, so energy of motion. That's kinetic energy. That's because moving things have energy. So moving things have energy. The energy in the bowling ball can knock over the pins. The pins receive the energy, okay, from the bowling ball, which knocks them over. Yet, if the ball isn't moving, it doesn't have energy. So if it isn't moving, it doesn't have energy. Kinetic energy also refers to tiny movements. Molecules in objects move around more when they are hot, okay, so when it's hot. So heat is also a type of energy. An example of heat energy is when the energy moves between objects when you're cooking. This results in a change in temperature. Also, on a small level, electricity is energy because it involves moving electrons. Okay, so kinetic energy is all the energy that has to do with moving things. Okay, so molecules moving, that's kinetic energy too. So that's why heat energy is kinetic energy, because the molecules, when they get hot, they move faster. It's kind of like if you were sitting over a fire, you'd be dancing, your feet would be dancing, you'd be moving faster because it's hot. You'd be like, oh my God, get me away from the heat. Okay, so the molecules are doing the same thing, and that's called heat energy, which is kinetic energy, because kinetic energy is the energy of moving things. All right? So now let's look at potential energy. Another type of energy is potential energy. This is an energy that an object could easily unleash. So it could have like the potential to unleash a lot of energy. For example, a skateboard sitting at the top of a ramp has potential energy. So could easily unleash. Water behind a dam also has potential energy. When water is allowed to flow, it has kinetic energy. Okay, so this is comparing the two here. When water is allowed to flow, when it's allowed to move, it has kinetic energy because it's moving. So now we need to look at our Venn diagram and write some things. So I'm going to write for kinetic energy that it is the energy of motion. Okay, and potential energy is energy that could be easily unleashed. Okay, it could easily happen. Okay, and then I'm going to put in here the water, like water that's allowed to run. Well, okay, let's see. I have to phrase this correctly. So water in a dam allowed to flow has kinetic energy. Okay, when it's in the dam, it has potential energy. Okay, so that's kind of how the two relate. When you're holding it up, it has potential energy, and then you let it go and it has kinetic energy because it's moving. So you guys need to write down 2 more things that just go with kinetic energy and 2 more things that just go with potential energy, and try and find 2 things, or maybe even think of 2 things that kinetic energy and potential energy might have in common. Okay, maybe the roller coaster, or oh, I know, when you're holding, when you go with your friends to a park and you're swinging each other, well, when you're holding them back on the swing before you let them go, that's potential energy. Once you let them go and they're moving, then it's kinetic energy. So you could write an example like that down. Okay, so 2 more things for kinetic, 2 things where they kind of relate and go together, and 2 things for just potential. So that is how you'll fill out the rest of this chart, and then take a picture and turn it into Google Classroom, and I will see you later.